from the San Francisco Argonaut, a weekly newspaper published in California. The Argonaut says, "There's been too much hypocrisy about this Philippine business. We do not want the Filipinos. We want the Philippines. All of our troubles in this present annexation matter have been caused by the presence in the Philippines of the Filipinos. Were it not for them, the Treaty of Paris would have been an excellent thing. The purchase of the archipelago for $20 million would have been cheap. The islands are enormously rich. They abound in dense forests of valuable hardwood timber. They contain mines of precious metals. Their fertile lands will produce immense crops of sugar, rice, and tobacco, touched by the wand of American enterprise, fertilized with American capital. These islands will become speedily rich. But, unfortunately, they are infested with Filipinos. There are millions of them there, and it is to be feared that their extinction will be slow. Still, every man who believes in developing the islands must admit that it cannot be done successfully while the Filipinos are there. They are indolent. They raise only enough food to live on. They don't care about making money, and they occupy land which might be better utilized by Americans. Therefore, the more of them that are killed, the better. It seems harsh, but they must yield before the superior race and the American syndicate. How short-sighted, then, to check the Army in its war of extermination against these savages." This from the San Francisco Argonaut. After some 4 years of these civilizing and Christianizing measures, the Philippines were brought under American control and remained an American colony from that time until 1941, when, simultaneous with the attack on Pearl Harbor, the Japanese attacked the Philippine Islands and drove the American troops out. We reconquered the Philippine Islands in the course of the Second World War, and in 1946 finally decided that the Filipino people were indeed ready for home rule, and we granted them their independence. But as a course of this war, the Philippines became for a half a century an American colony, an American possession, and an American responsibility. And in the course of this war, we also acquired the Hawaiian Islands, which could serve as a coaling and fuel station for us as we crossed the Pacific. And Guam we acquired, and Wake Island we acquired, also to use as coaling and naval stations across the Pacific. And we found ourselves at the end of this war with an empire that stretched far beyond what we had thought to be our natural borders, the Pacific coast of California and Oregon and Washington State. And now our frontiers had stretched all the way across the Pacific to encompass lands off the coast of Asia, involving us in a politics very remote from our homeland. One of the characteristics of the last part of the 19th century was the development of imperialism. Imperialism is where one nation controls the political or economic life of another. And by the first 2 decades of the 20th century, the industrialized nations of the world had carved out empires for themselves all over the planet. And it was hard at that point to even find a spot on the surface of the globe that had not been taken and claimed by force of arms by one or another of the European states. The United States, too, was caught up in this drive toward imperialism, and it was a difficult decision for us to make. And the Philippine insurrection caused us to debate very deeply the question of, should we become an imperialist nation as well? Should we have colonies far beyond our own shores? What I'd like to do is to present the arguments on both sides of this question as they were presented by the people of the time and since, and let you judge for yourself whether you think that this was a good thing or is a good thing for a nation to engage in.